Typing Mind is essentially like a playground tool for any LLM that we want. And so I can use an agent that I use frequently called Gigawatt. And Gigawatt here is an AI prompt engineering and AI engineering agent. And we're going to run this. It's going to be connected to Sonnet 4. I've got some MCP tools toggled on here, like Exa, Perplexity, sequential thinking. And then we're going to do some research, because we find that a lot of the work comes when we're doing this for actual clients, and like what we teach is that it's this idea of the mentality of an AI practitioner, which happens to be very similar to like the forward deployed engineer mentality. So we need to understand the problem, understand the business, really get to the secret sauce of it. And from there, we can kind of gather all of our requirements and then start our build.
Awesome.
Okay, so let's see here. What we wanted to try and do this for Apple, I think is what we wanted to do.
Yep.
Cool. All right. So I joke when I tell people what I do for a living now is I talk funny to robots. So that's what we're going to do here with Gigawatt. So, hey, Gigawatt, what's up? We are on a podcast right now, so no pressure at all. And we're going to do a live agent build here. What we're going to do is we want to build an expert level agent for Apple, and that's Apple Computer. So I want you to go out and use your tools, your sequential thinking tool, your deep research tool, Perplexity, to really think about if we were going to be building an agentic workflow that handles inbound customer service type emails, and we're going to have two different AI agents as a part of this AI team to handle those. One of them is going to be this expert, and that's the one that we're going to focus on first. It's not going to talk to any people. Its whole job is to go and find the best possible information to help support the email agent that we're going to dub You've Got Mail, and then send that response to it, and then it will craft that email out to the customer service or to the customer as a customer service agent to respond to them. So I want you to think on this deeply. Ask me, let's say, 3 clarifying questions so that you and I are on the same page. We're not in prompt engineering mode yet. This is where you're just going to do brainstorming, and we're getting on alignment on what this build is that we're going to do. All right, let's see what you got. Go get them, Slugger. So that's a funny thing that we always do here at the end. Like, people always ask, like, why the heck are you saying go get them, Slugger? And the fact that I'm even talking to this agent in this way, like very kind of loosey-goosey, and I'm actually just like talking to it. So I'm using Mac Whisper on my computer, is because the system instructions for Gigawatt here are extremely detailed and comprehensive and trained on how it is that we've done this process for several years now at this point. So we can see it's using its sequential thinking tool here. It's thinking about like what it wants to go do. This is very similar to the thinking traces that you get from like any of the reasoning models, but we can use this tool with any model now. And it's come back and it's asking us these questions here. So love the energy. Here we go. Apple's product ecosystem is massive. We're talking about iPhone, like the whole shebang. So it wants to know, let's see here, clarifying questions. Are we doing this to an expert that handles the entire Apple universe, or should we focus on a specific subset, like maybe the hardware support or just customer devices? Are we going full enterprise? Let's do all of the main consumer products. So, all right, Gigawatt, I'm going to go through here and answer some of your questions, just stream of consciousness style back to you here. We're going to build this expert agent so that it knows all things Apple products and Apple culture, plus normal information that it would need to know if it were an expert on the Apple team, to try and surface information that would be useful to respond to generalized customer service questions. So this could be everything from, how do I set up family sharing on my devices? How do I update the iPhone? What is even the latest iPhone? How do I do this thing in iOS? Like the whole gamut there. So we need to think about this deeply, and the kind of information and expertise that we are going to need to gather in to be able to do that here. Okay, so there's that one. The second one, let's see, what kind of customer service scenarios are we optimizing for? Are we talking technical troubleshooting, product information requests, billing, account issues, warranty, all of the above? Okay, on your second question, let's just say all of the above, just for speed. Because you never know what kind of customer service questions you're going to get, especially for a company the size of Apple. So right now, let's solve for all four of those that you mentioned. And let's come down here a little bit more. Our information, sources, and research depth. What level of research capability should the expert have? Should it be pulling from Apple's official documentation? Okay, so great question. So it's wanting to know, like, basically, how is it going to know this info? We're going to build it into the system instructions, and we're going to connect it to a RAG retrieval knowledge base, and we're going to connect it to an internet tool so it can go out and actually find this information. Let's tell Gigawatt that. Hey Gigawatt, so this agent, this expert agent, will be connected to a RAG retrieval database where we will scrape in Apple's website. And for the demo, the sake of the demo, it's not going to be the entire whole website scrape just for the sake of time. But the agent needs to know that it's connected to that, and it can go search through its RAG to find anything helpful to answer the questions that the customers are asking. It's also going to have a lot of the expertise written and built into the system instructions itself. And it's going to be connected to a web search tool, so go out on the open internet to find information as well. With that one, though, we need to be careful that when it's going onto the internet, it's looking at Apple-specific sites or official information, because when it's out on the open web, that could cause hallucinations. So we need to think system instructions, RAG database first. Internet is good to find real-time info, but we need to use kind of chain of verification mentality when when it's thinking about that kind of stuff. All right, so let's do that. And that should get us up and rolling.
And while this is running really quickly, if a user wants to replicate this Gigawatt infrastructure or this agent, how would they go about doing that? Can they access Gigawatt or how would they rebuild it?
Yeah, well, Gigawatt is something that we give versions of it away as a part of going through our course. That's one thing. And the other thing is, like, we're actually working on turning Gigawatt into a real live product. We are vibe coding this right now. Like, I've been deep in VS Code with Claude Code and Codex trying to turn this into a product that I don't have to be there anymore. That, like, this whole back and forth that we're doing now and forcing the research and even deep research happens completely autonomously. So yeah, that's a couple ways that we're working on it.
If somebody didn't take the course or you hadn't released the product yet, how could they replicate something like this to do this on their own?
I mean, the way that I've done it is that everyone kind of has their own best practices around prompt engineering and what good looks like to them. So I have taken a lot of the work that I've done over the last several years where I manually did this. And because I originally built Gigawatt to speed up my own processes, I use like what good looks like from my point of view and how I approach it and the different AI research techniques that we use. So you heard me say chain of verification there a minute ago. That's a process that Meta came out with here a few years ago that was like produced in a research paper. I'm a nerd. Like, I love reading that stuff and watching content around it. And when I saw that, I recognized, oh, this is a framework we could start incorporating into agents so that they hallucinate less frequently, because it's like reviewing the information, kind of fact checking it, giving a confidence score before it ever decides to include it in an output. So that's like one example of one piece of AI research that Gigawatt knows about. So if someone wants to rebuild that, it's kind of collecting like all of these kinds of bits and pieces of information, and then now the LLMs are really good at writing prompts to begin with. So if you could gather that, put it together, you're going to have a pretty good prompt engineering agent just going from there.
Okay, so the goal is to build a prompt engineering agent in this tool, Typing Mind, which gives that agent access to all these tools that you listed off. And then you prompt that agent, that's your agent builder helper, to help create the actual agent you want to
That's
create.
right.
Awesome.
Yeah, exactly right. Like it's a version of meta prompting almost, and you'll see that happen in here frequently. Like as I go through this process, like not only to build Gigawatt, the kind of odd thing that's like inception-y dream within a dream is that I've used older versions of Gigawatt, plus like my feedback and improvements and new techniques that I've come up with or found out, as like new research comes out, and then bake that in, and Gigawatt can meta prompt itself and help build a better version of Gigawatt or whatever agent that is that we're trying to build at the time.
It's like turtles on turtles.
You got it, yeah. So let's see here. So let's come back. So Apple Expert Agent Architecture, complete Apple ecosystem, multi-source intelligence here, chain of verification, comprehensive customer service coverage, information hierarchy. So I'm just like speed reading through this just for the sake of time. So it knows that we want to make sure that the RAG database is primary, secondaries. When it's thinking about responding, it's working from the built-in system instructions. Tertiary is going to be verified web search with confidence scoring on that. The output structure is going to be for the You've Got Mail agent. That's an important one. Like if we were doing this in production, and I won't do it today, I would probably have inter-agent communication print its output in JSON, because it's not the prettiest thing for us to look at, but when you go agent to agent, it's very useful because the LLMs can parse out information from that very easily. They make sense for them, and I know I'm like anthropomorphizing them, but it just is what it is, and that technique really works well.
I hope you enjoyed that short clip. You can check out the full episode here.